Anyways, today we're going to be talking about something very important, right? And it is essential for us to understand that, you know, different buyers have different personalities. And as I always say, your primary job as a salesperson is to be an empath. An empath is practically not seeing things from your own perspective, but seeing things from the other person's perspective. And the more you talk to people, the more you relate with people, the more you engage with them, you'd realize that people are different. And that's why I'm strongly against like a one size fits all type of approach where you just have one particular way of talking to all your clients, right? And that's why selling like a doctor is very important, because you need to first, diagnose, examine before you prescribe. Now, it's in the process of this diagnosis that you now realize the personality type or the personality trait that you are dealing with. So very quickly today, I'll be trying to tell us about five different buyer personalities and how to appeal to them specifically. So we're talking about different types of buyers, how they think, how they reason, what their triggers are, what enables them to relax and make a decision, and how to also position yourself as someone that can appeal to these people. Now, in real estate, the biggest mistake most agents make is that they sell the same way to everybody, right? The same way to everybody. But buyers are not the same. Sometimes buyers need logic, sometimes they need emotions, sometimes they need speed, sometimes they need proof, and sometimes they need trust. I'll go over it again. All buyers are not the same. Sometimes some buyers need logic, some buyers they need emotions, some buyers they need speed, some need proof, while others need trust. Now, it is very important to note that if you are dealing with everybody the same way, you are going to be getting inconsistent results. Because if I'm an introvert and you are talking to me like I'm an extrovert, you get different results. If I'm somebody that is analytical and you're treating me like somebody that is emotional, you get different results. So your job as a salesperson is to understand these different buyer personalities and how to appeal to them. Now, about 2 or 3 months ago, I can't even remember the topic I was speaking about on a Monday morning like this. And I was talking to us about how when I first started my real estate journey, I was trying to sell a house. Right at the time, I could not take on a project like that on my own. So I was working in connection with like four other agents. That type of thing where you're trying to like buy a house and there are like 1 million agents on the property and all of them now share the commission, like 5K, that type of thing. So at the time, we're trying to sell a house, right, to an older couple. Most of you that were in the class will probably remember, this story I'm about to talk about. So we're trying to sell a house and we showed them like 3 or 4 different houses, right? Very good houses, prime locations, quite pricey, but they had the money because they were retirees. And tech tech houses, very, very modern, very, very contemporary. We took them to 3 or 4 of them and they refused to key in. And we were worried because like these are the best options on the market. Like, how can you not be interested in this? But then we took another perspective and we looked at it from like an older person's perspective, right? So if somebody is older at that point in their life, what they see as luxury is not really an AI modulated doors, a tech-friendly house. What they see as luxury is probably somewhere quiet where they could spend time, with their children without any type of disturbances. So for them, what they prioritize in that moment is not really the luxuries of things, but it is what is luxury to them. So my point is that they ended up buying the house because we're able to appeal to what luxury is to them. So my point is, when you are dealing with people, when you are dealing with different people, you have to take them as they are, as they come, not as you expect them to be. So what I'll be trying to communicate today is to try and help you understand the different type of personalities that buyers have and how to actually appeal to them. So at this point, am I audible enough? Can you hear me very clearly? If you can, please respond with an emoji before I get into more serious conversations. Okay, all right. Thank you very, very much. Now, every buyer is driven by one dominant question, right? Every buyer is driven by one dominant question, and I'll be listing a few of them to you. Now, the first one is this safe? Right? So as a real estate consultant, understand that, as Miss Oyin said on the call, it is a low trust environment. So people are asking themselves if it is safe. The second thing is if it is worth it. I'm about to part with my hand-end resources, right? Because of information that this person is giving me. Is it worth it? Now, the third thing is that is it for somebody like me? You need to understand that people are always constantly thinking whether your investments, whether your opportunities are for them specifically. Now, the last one is, can I trust you? Now, obviously, if somebody is trying to do business with you, they are going to be asking themselves if and why they should trust you. Now, the first type of buyer personality is the analytical buyer, right? Please kindly write this down. The analytical buyer. The analytical buyer, or otherwise known as the thinker. Now, this person is very logical, careful, and detail-oriented, right? This person is very careful. They are very logical and detail-oriented. So if as a salesperson, right, you have, you know, a client that you take to site, and it seems that this client is even more educated about investments or about the project than you, that person is definitely an analytical buyer. Now, analytical buyers are very complicated to work with because they are very knowledgeable. So if you're not grounded as a real estate salesperson, you're not grounded as a real estate consultant, it can be very difficult to close an analytical buyer. And these analytical buyers, how do you identify them? Now, the first, more often than not, I'll be giving you 3 ways you can identify them. The first way is that they ask for documents, breakdowns, and ROI, right? At the first instance, at the first point of contact, they're already asking you about documentation. Oh, what document does this place have? What's the ROI on this place? If I buy this place, how much will it be worth in 10 years? Oh, I bought another project like this in Ibadan. I bought another project like this in Kogi. I bought another project like this in Lagos. Like, if I buy this investment now, what is the ROI on it? They ask for documents, they ask for breakdown, they ask for ROIs. Now, the second thing is that they take their time to decide, right? So these people are not in a rush because they're experienced and they want the information to actually check out. So they are never in a rush to decide whether they want to make an investment or not. Now, the third thing is that they want full clarity before moving forward, right? So these people, if something does not add up, they don't go ahead. In fact, about 3 weeks ago, I ran a couple of ads and some people came into my funnel, and one of them happened to be an accountant, right? So this accountant was interested in Oli Modern Market, which is one of the projects I feel very passionate about, and I actually push that project a lot. Now, I got on a call with this person and we're having a very random conversation, and he was talking about the price of the project, the ROI is going to get, as a business owner, the projected human traffic coming into that axis. And then he said, look, if I bought this project now, how much will I get in rent? And he was like, okay, let's divide the rent into years and let's divide it into how long I'm going to be owning the shop for. Then he went ahead to say, look, I put my money in the money market and this is the return that the money market gives me every 9 months. Why should I put my money here? Now, that means I'm dealing with like an analytical buyer. If I'm not properly grounded, if I don't have enough information about my project, I cannot sell to somebody like that. So an analytical buyer wants full clarity before they move forward. You're not going to beat around the bush. You're not going to put things under the carpet. You're not going to, just keep past the questions that they ask you. If they ask you something and you don't respond, it is going to haunt them. And if they don't have that clarity, they cannot move forward. So I'll go over it again. If you want to identify an analytical buyer, there are 3 major triggers, right? The first thing is that they ask for documents, breakdowns, and ROIs. Now, the second thing is that they take time to decide. And the third thing is that they want full clarity before moving forward. Now, what do these people care about? They care about 3 things too. They care about numbers, they care about risk reduction, and they care about facts and structure. So if you are dealing with an analytical person, understand that the numbers are important to them. How much does this thing cost? If I put my money elsewhere, will it be a better decision for me? They care about the numbers. The second thing is risk reduction. That's why they're always asking about documentation, ROI, and all that. They want to be sure that what they are buying into has a very reduced risk. And the third thing is that they care about facts and structure. So if you are selling something to them, you need to be very clear, and the thing needs to have some sort of structure. Now, how do you sell to an analytical buyer? How do you sell to them? How do you proceed with them? How do you ensure that they do business with you? Now, I'll be giving you 3 tips as well. Now, the first thing is to be detailed and structured, right? You cannot escape the detail. If somebody knows what they are doing, they notice everything. If you say, oh, this thing is 500 square meters, but then you send them an FAQ and it's actually 300 square meters, it is a red flag for them. If you say something is total ownership, and over time they realize that this thing is actually on a lease period, you've lost the trust, right? So be very detailed and structured. Now, the second thing is to show comparison and to show proof. To show comparison and proof. If somebody is an overthinker, how you can help them relax is to show comparison. So this project you are building here is like this other project that this other company is doing in this axis, so that they can have like some sort of comparisons. You share testimonials, you show them videos and pictures of clients that have done business with you before, or that have done business with the company in general before. So you show them comparison and you show them proof. And the third thing is to avoid any type of emotional pressure. Avoid any type of emotional pressure. So when you are dealing with somebody that is being analytical, understand that their logic is taking precedence over their emotions, right? They are not in a rush. They cannot be bamboozled. Your insane and over projected return on investment does not move the needle for them, right? They don't care about how much you say they're going to make in a short period of time. What they care about is the clarity, the facts. What are the documents that this place has? What is the proof this place is legit? Who are the people that have bought from you before? That is an analytical thinker. So understand that if you want to sell to them, you have to be detailed and structured, right? That's the first thing. The second thing is that you have to show comparisons and proof. And the third thing is that you have to avoid any hype or emotional pressure. So the fact that a property is going to appreciate over 400% overnight doesn't really excite them, because if anything, it just signals to them that, oh, this thing might be a scam. Why is the ROI so high? So when you're talking or engaging somebody like that, understand that it is very, very important to be detailed and structured. It's important to show comparisons and proof. And it's also very important to avoid hype or emotional pressure. Now, the second type of buyers are the emotional buyers. These people are the feelers, right? Emotional buyers. Now, this buyer is driven by visions and then feelings, right? So if you take somebody to site and they're looking at the property and they're already telling you things like, oh, I like how this place makes me feel. This place reminds me of like my childhood. I'm buying this because of my children. Buying this place, actually, I'm investing in real estate because when I did not really have money, I used to tell myself that once I start doing well in life, right, I'm going to start investing in landed projects, right? That person is an emotional buyer. That person is a feeler. Now, how do you identify them? They talk about their family, their comfort, and their dreams. So if somebody is going to invest in real estate because of anything outside of them, for example, if they are investing in real estate because of their children, they're investing in real estate for the greater good, probably to open an orphanage or something like that. They're investing in real estate to see how we can better the community. Maybe they want to open like a shelter where people can come and eat and all that. That person is an emotional buyer. They're always talking about their family. They're always talking about their own comfort. They're always talking about their dreams. That is an emotional buyer. Now, the second thing is that they respond to visuals and storytelling, right? They respond to visuals and storytelling. If somebody has like a fetish, or if somebody has like, a certain need or a certain craving for certain type of project, if somebody is like a luxury purchaser, that person is more often than not an emotional buyer, because they are moved by the visuals. You just take some people to some projects and they're like, I cannot really explain it, but this place makes me feel comfortable, makes me feel safe. That person is an emotional buyer. So they respond to visuals, like things that you show them about the project. They respond to storytelling. So if you have like a client 2 or 3 years ago, 5 years ago, that made a very good buying decision, that bought something that appreciated over a period of time, that the person sold it and they made a profit, you could be telling them stories like that. That person is an emotional buyer, and visions like this, storytellings like this, trigger them to make a decision. Now, the third thing is that they say things like, I just want something nice, right? So if you are talking to somebody and they're not even asking you about documentation, they're not asking you about ROI, they're not asking you about the size of the project, the size of the property, they're just saying things like, I just want something nice, I just want something comfortable, I just want to buy something that I can be rest assured that is a good decision for me. I just want to buy something that makes me money. In fact, I just want to buy this thing because a friend bought a project in that area, and I hear that to buy properties in that area is good. So if somebody is talking like that, if there isn't that type of lingua, as opposed to asking for documents, asking about ROI, that person is an emotional buyer. Now, what do emotional buyers care about? They care about three things, right? The first thing is lifestyle. If you're into luxury real estate, you'd understand that there are some people that buy things not because they need it, but because they know that buying things like that or being affiliated with buying things like that does a lot for their reputation. So someone can buy a house because they're probably into like entertainment, and they know how buying expensive things reflects on their personality or reflects on their brand. That person is an emotional buyer. They care about lifestyle. And the second is that they care about peace of mind. So if you are talking to a client, especially people from the older generation that have worked so hard for their money and are probably at the stage of retirement, if you are talking to them about investment, what they are worried about at that moment is not your ROI. What they are worried about is the safety of their investment. Somebody in their 60s or 70s is not really worried, does not really care about the fact that a property can appreciate by 1 million% overnight. What they're worried about is that this money I've worked so hard for over the course of 20, 25 years of my life, I'm about to buy something with it. Is this thing safe? Will I get peace of mind if I buy it? Right? That is an emotional buyer. And the third thing they care about is future experience. So they're not just thinking of the moment, they are thinking of, oh, if I buy this thing, what will it do for me? How will it make me feel? How will it add value to my life? That person is worried about future experiences. Now, the next thing we're talking about now is how do you sell to them? So if you are engaging with an emotional buyer, they're talking about their family, talking about lifestyle, talking about luxury, talking about peace of mind. How do you sell to them? Now, the first thing you can do is paint a picture of their future life, right? Paint a picture of their future life. How would things look like when they do business with you? How would things how things pan out when they do business with you? How things what is their future going to look like? What is the end game going to look like? And if I bought this project today, take me on a journey on how my life is going to be. Take me on a journey on how it's going to positively impact my life. Paint a picture of their future life. Now, the second thing is use storytelling instead of numbers first. Use storytelling instead of numbers first. Now, you notice that the best of brands, right? If you look at from the entertainment industry to like the fashion industry to like the food industry, if they're about to market a product or a project, they use storytelling. So if you're about to buy a pair of Nikes today, probably like sneakers or soccer boots or like the headbands, they're not really telling you about the shoes. They can tell you about how Michael Jordan won the championship in 1998 because he had a pair of Nikes that he wore every single day. They tell you about stories of victory from a lot of great sports people, right? What they're trying to do is to help you connect to the brand by storytelling. So if somebody is an emotional buyer, and most people are, right, what you can do is to use storytelling instead of numbers. If somebody is emotional about something, they don't want to hear about ROI. They don't want to hear about C of O. They don't want to hear about excision. They don't want to hear about what the government wants to do in that area. What they are worried about is how the thing will make them feel. So tell stories. Stories are a perfect way to build trust, get credibility, show proof that people have actually done business with you before without being salesy. So if you talk about somebody that bought a property from you 4 years ago, the person got the property sold, made a good investment, made a good return on their investment, right? What you've actually done at that moment is that you've been able to use storytelling to build credibility and to build trust for them. Now, the last thing you'd also need to do is to make them feel properly. Make them feel properly. Every single thing that you're going to do needs to have an appeal of making them feel some certain type of way. Your logic, your numbers, everything that has to do with documentation, those things are secondary to how they feel. So your priority is to ensure that, look, I'm going to make this person, I'm going to paint them a picture of their future life. I'm going to use storytelling instead of numbers, and I'm going to make them feel properly. Now, the third type of buyer type is the decisive buyer. The decisive buyer. Please, am I audible enough? Can everybody hear exactly what I'm saying? If you can hear me very clearly, please drop an emoji again so I know that I'm carrying every single person along. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. So the decisive buyer. Now, this buyer moves fast and they trust their instincts, right? This buyer moves very, very fast and they trust their instincts, right? So you notice that if you've done sales for long, there are some people that they go ahead with a transaction or a purchase quicker than you'd expect. I've had people that I was talking to them about a project, and in about 2 or 3 days, they've made a decision. Now, these people are not stupid, right? They are just decisive. And with people like that, they trust their gut feeling a lot. So if somebody says, "Oh, I'll get back to you tomorrow," more often than not, they are trying to check their gut feeling and see if it aligns with them making that investment or going ahead with that purchase. So a decisive buyer is an action taker. The buyer moves very fast and they always trust their instinct. Now, how do you identify them? The first thing is quick replies, right? They're talking to somebody on the phone and they're engaging you a lot because they want those answers, and they want those answers now. Now, the second thing is short questions. Now, these people are not expecting you to be telling them stories about what happened in 1993. What they want is short questions and short answers. So if they ask you something, they want the quickest possible answer and the shortest possible explanation, right? So the third thing is that they want recommendation. So if they want to buy something, they want you to recommend something to them, right? Because they're very decisive. If they trust you, they also want you to recommend stuff to them. Now, the last thing is that they ask questions like, "What should I do?" Right? A decisive buyer is always asking you, "What should I do?" They're an action taker. They want to go ahead with the next step. So they ask you things like, "What should I do?" Now, a decisive buyer also cares about three things, right? These are three things that a decisive buyer always cares about. Now, the first thing is speed, right? The first thing is speed. Now, when I'm talking to my sales team, I always tell them that, look, if you wanted to increase your sales output, one thing you need to understand is speed is very, very important. Now, I was reading a book a while back, $100 million offers by Alex Hermosi, and he was talking about how important it is to have speed. Now, he was saying that you could literally increase your sales output by about 300 or 400% if you responded to messages 10 seconds or less after those messages came in. What that means is that speed is actually currency to some people. If you can respond fast enough, you'll get some people's attention. But if you allow the waiting time to be about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or 15 minutes after they send a message, you might not get the best from them. Because let me explain something to you very quickly. Like, every buyer has a window, and in that window, they want to make a buying decision. If you don't respond to them during that window, understand that it's possible that you might not get them to make a buying decision from you. So speed is very important. Now, the second thing is opportunity. So you need to tell them about opportunity, different opportunities that exist, and why they should go ahead to make that decision. They care about opportunities a lot. Now, the third thing they care about is availability. Because they are decisive, they want to know, is this property available? Is this investment available? Is it all and good for me to make a good investment? Like, they want to know the availability of the project. Now, the second subtopic is, how do you sell to a decisive buyer? How do you sell to a decisive buyer? Be direct and confident. So these people don't want you to beat around the bush. They don't want you to tell them things that are not important to what the decision they want to make. So be direct and be confident. They want to see that you're confident. They want to see that you're very direct. They are decisive. They make decisions very quickly. So they don't want you to beat around the bush at all. Now, the second thing is, give them very clear recommendations, right? Vagueness doesn't work for decisive buyers. Tell them exactly what you want them to do and how to go about it, right? So if somebody is very decisive, you need to make things easy for them. So I always tell my team members to, like, if you are talking to a client and the client wants to make a payment, you need to make it as easy as possible for the person to do it. So you cannot be telling your client that, "Oh, the account number is in the FAQ that I sent earlier." It's very irresponsible and lazy. So if you're talking to somebody and you want them to go ahead with the decision, make it very easy for them. Type out the account number and put it in their WhatsApp message. These are the account details. So they are also provided in the FAQ I sent earlier. But this is the account number, so you can make a buying decision quicker. It is your job to make things as easy as possible for your client. Give them very, very clear recommendations. Now, the last thing is to help them decide quickly. As I said earlier, speed. They're talking to somebody and you feel like they are being decisive. There are people that like to make a decision once. The best thing you can do for them is to nudge them in the right direction as quickly as you can. Now, the fourth type of buyer type is the skeptical buyer. The skeptical buyer. The skeptical buyer. Now, these people are the doubters, right? They are always doubting. If you hear somebody say something like, "Are you sure they are going to allocate us?" If you hear somebody saying like, "That's how I bought a property last year and they did not give me my receipt." If you hear somebody saying like, "All these real estate companies, most of them are scam," that person is a skeptical buyer, right? They are the doubters. They don't believe anything that you say. Your facts, they don't care about it. Your figures, they don't care about it. Your documentation, they don't care about it. So this person is a skeptical person, and they doubt things a lot. Now, this buyer, they trust slowly and they ask many questions, right? So I hear people tell me that I've been talking to this man for the past 6 months. He's always asking me to send FAQ. He's going on multiple inspections. He's always engaging me in conversations, but he has not paid money. It is because this person is skeptical, right? And how do you identify them? They question everything. If you send them a document, they say, oh, this document has been forwarded many times. Are you sure that this document is not a scam? Oh, this person, this surveyor on the documentation you sent me, I know the surveyor from one place. He did a business for somebody, he did not allocate the person. You know, they always say things like, are you sure? So you could tell them that, look, this project is located in New Garage, right? 5 minutes from telling, and they're like, are you sure? And like, we can literally go there right now. You'd see that the project is there. So these people are very skeptical. They are always asking questions like, are you sure that this project is everything that you say that this project is? Now, the third thing is that they need reassurance repeatedly. They need reassurance repeatedly. The person has made the payment today. It has just been 20 minutes. They're saying, where's my documentation? Where's my receipt? Where's the contract of sale? So you just paid for this project 20 minutes ago. Allow the customer experience to do their job. So if you're talking to somebody and they need reassurance repeatedly, they need the fact that this account number, is it correct? This site, is it correct? Can I trust you people? If somebody is always constantly needing reassurance, that person is a doubter. Now, the fourth thing is that they must have had bad experiences before. So if you are dealing with somebody that is saying, oh, I bought a property 5-6 years ago, I got scammed, my brother got scammed, my father got scammed, my sister got scammed, that person already has bad experiences before. And by all means, expect that they are going to be a skeptical buyer. Now, what do skeptical buyers care about? They care about 3 things. The first thing is trust. If these people don't trust you, they are not going to go ahead with the transaction. Now, I was talking to somebody about 2 weeks ago about one of my biggest investors as a salesperson, and this lady has bought properties of over 60 or 70 million scattered all about, right, from me, and she has never been to any of the sites before. Now, all our transactions circle around me posting on WhatsApp and seeing the product. She asked me a few questions about it, and she just starts making payments. Like, even when I was an independent realtor, she buy properties from me in a lot of developing areas, and she has never been to any of them before, right? So this person is dealing with me based on trust, not based on facts, not based on figures. In fact, the trust is so deep that if she sees a project elsewhere, she asks me now, oh, today, do you market this one too? Can I buy the project from you because I trust you? So they care. They need testimonials. Show them that people are with you. Because people are dealing with you primarily based on proof. For a moment, can you hear me now?
Okay, yes.
All right. So these people are dealing with you based on proof. Now, what was the last thing that I said, please, so that I can continue from there? I'm not exactly sure where I tripped off.
You said they trust you. They based
Okay,
on
good.
trust.
So
about the
You
woman
better about a woman who could ask you if she see other people's projects that are you involved in it so that you can buy through you.
Thank you very much. It shows that we're following. Thank you. That's fantastic. Good job, guys. So what they care about is trust, right? She trusts me and she does business with me back to back because I've been able to leverage on that trust, right? Now, the second thing is proof, right? Show testimonial, show that people are doing business with you, and show that you help them to get rid of the anxiety, of the stress, of the indecisiveness that they are currently going through. Now, the last thing is transparency. Right now, I always like to say this: doing what you say seems like something that is very easy and very obvious, but it will get you more customers than anything else. Now, it is because most companies don't do the things that they say that they are going to do. So if you are a salesperson or you're a real estate company and you do exactly what you say you're going to do, see how simple that sounds, right? Like just doing what you said you're going to do. You set yourself aside from like 80% of 90% of people, because most people say the things that they will not do and do the things that they did not say that they were going to do before. So what can be strength for you as a salesperson is just doing the simple things and doing them well, right? So be transparent, help them trust you, show them proof, and then be transparent. Now, how do you sell to a skeptical person, a doubter? How do you sell to them? Now, the first thing is to be calm and transparent, right? Be calm and transparent. Don't try to push them. Don't try to rush them. Even if there'll be a price increase in 48 hours, it doesn't help. It doesn't help to send them 48 messages, right? Be calm with them and be transparent with them. Now, the second thing is to provide evidence and clarity. Now, bear in mind that this person is skeptical. They do not trust you. The only thing that most people cannot argue with or dispute is facts, right? So show them that, oh, last allocation, we had over 200 people. All of them got allocated. All of them are happy. Encourage them to do background search about the company that you sell for. For example, I sell for Land Nest Homes and Properties, and I'm very proud of it. In fact, I encourage people to say that it's almost like a flex. If I'm talking to a client and they're being skeptical, I just tell them things like, okay, do you have like an independent surveyor that can chat for you? Do you have people in the city of Ibadan that know about the companies that actually deliver on their promises? Now, usually when I say that, I'm saying it with the company because I know that you cannot go and do a search and it will come back negative. I know, I have the confidence that it is not going to happen. So encourage them to do their own independent search. Encourage them to get data or facts that are self-generated so they know that it's not from you. If you are dealing with a credible company, these are the type of benefits that you enjoy, right? So provide evidence and clarity. Now, the third thing is to never get defensive. So if they say, oh, are you a scam? It is not the time to now start saying, how will you say something like that? I've been doing this thing for 15 years. I have all the experience. Like, what do you mean? If you don't want to buy from, go and buy from somebody else. That's not the time to be decisive. Your job is to treat them like a frightened child, hold them by the hand, show them that everything is safe, and take them to the desired place that they are supposed to be, right? So the last type of buyer personality I'm talking about very quickly, because we have about 10 minutes left, is the price-sensitive buyer. The price-sensitive buyer. Now, this buyer is focused heavily on cost and deals. This is like your typical Ijebu clients, right? They are the comparer. They are comparing you to, all the other real estate companies. They are doing another thing, another shop space. I've had clients send me other projects that other real estate companies are selling for cheaper. But of course, I never argue based on price. I always argue based on value. Because if you're looking for something cheaper, you'd always find. You understand? If you buy things as simple as t-shirts, you realize that there are shirts that cost 1K and there are shirts that cost 50K. They cost different amounts for a reason. It's not because they are shirts, it's because of the value you'll be getting in return. And as far as real estate is concerned, value is not just in the physical look of the project. It is in things as small as trust. So if you buy something for 10 naira, but to bring a problem of 10,000 naira, is it not better to just buy something of 1,000 naira that will not bring you any issues at all? So these people are the comparers. They are your typical Ijebu clients. Every single day, they are constantly sending you pictures of what other companies are doing. They are sending you other different prices. They are showing you a place that they bought. They're always trying to get a discount. So this person is a price-sensitive buyer. Now, how do I identify them? The first thing is that their first question is about price or discount. You can be talking to somebody about the price of a project and they're like, if I buy 2, will you help me remove 500,000? If I buy 3, can you remove 500,000 from me? They're talking about price all the time, pricing and then discounts. Now, the second thing is that they compare multiple options, right? So I've had people that, so most times when a client talks to you, understand that the clients have the luxury of choice, right? Because they can decide to do business with anybody else. So I've had people, talk to 2 different clients, 2 different real estate agents at the same time. Like they're talking to 2 different agents at the same time. So understand that they compare multiple options back to back to back. Now, the third thing is that they hesitate due to cost. So you're talking to somebody and the person saying that, I would have bought it if it was 10,000 naira lesser. I would have bought it if it was 15,000 naira lesser. Understand that you're talking to somebody that is hesitating due to the cost. Now, what do these people care about? What does the price-sensitive buyer care about? They care about value for money. So if they're going to be spending 1,000 naira on something, they need to be sure that this 1,000 naira is going to give them the return on investment that they expected to get, right? So that they want to get value for money. Now, the second thing is that they want affordability, right? They want affordability. They're always looking to cut costs. They're always looking to cut corners to cut costs, right? So these people are always looking at affordability. Is this thing affordable? Can I get it cheaper elsewhere? These are the conversations that are taking place in the mind of somebody that is a price-sensitive deal. So, a price change is happening in 24 days. They'll jump on it. You can pay for this project for about 2 or 3 years. They jump on it. So they care about deals and they care about flexibility. Now, how do you sell to them, right? How do you sell to a price sensitive buyer? The first thing is that shift the focus from price to value. Shift the focus from price to value. Now, understand that. Please, can you switch off your mic, please? Thank you very much. Now, they care about price, so it is not a good. Please, can you switch off your mic, please? Thank you very much. So they care about price, so it is not a level playing ground for you to engage them. So switch from the price angle to the value angle. Now, the second thing you could also do is that show long-term benefits, right? Show long-term benefits. Understand that what they are paying for is not all they get. There's a possibility that there's going to be like a value increase over time. So if somebody is worried about spending 1 million naira today, a good argument angle will be to say that, look, this thing costs 4 million naira today, but in like 6 months it will cost about 1.3 million naira. It means that you spent 1 million naira to get 1.3 million naira, which is inevitably a good deal. So your argument should not be just short-term benefits. Your argument should also be what they stand to benefit in the long term. Now, the last way you can sell to them is to offer structured payment plan if needed. So this person is arguing with you based on trust. The most important thing to them in the investment conversation is the fact that something is cheaper, right? So understand that if you offer like a structured payment for them, it also encourages them to make the right decision. Now, once you identify them, you can adjust your communication effectively. Now, if you don't understand that, at the start of this class, for those of us that joined later on, I was trying to communicate the fact that, look, you cannot converse with everybody the same way. So a skeptical buyer, a price-sensitive buyer, a decisive buyer, an emotional buyer, and an analytical buyer, they are different personalities. You cannot be engaging somebody that is emotional like somebody that is logical. You can't be engaging somebody that is unsure like somebody that is price sensitive. So your job as a salesperson is to ask the right questions so that you can get information about exactly who you are dealing with, and you can know exactly how to go ahead with them, in the transaction process. Now, to round up, please, I would like us to take note of these 4 things. Now, people don't reject properties, they reject how it is presented to them, right? So most people are not rejecting you, as Dr. Ife will say, like, it is just about your approach. It is how you are engaging them that's a problem, not exactly what you're selling or what you do. People don't reject properties, they reject how it is presented to them. Now, one property can be sold in 5 different ways. Now, one property can be sold in 5 different ways. So, for example, if you're selling Oli model market based on price, you could say that, oh, in comparison to other shops in this area, this place is quite affordable. If you are trying to sell it based on trust, you could also highlight the fact that it's a PPI, is a public-private initiative with the Oli local government, which gives it a ton load of credibility, right? So you can sell one property in like 5 or 6 different ways, right? So the third thing is that your income increases when your communication becomes flexible. So as a salesperson, if you're going to get good results, if you're going to, hit your sales targets, if you're going to cash in on a particular customer, for lack of a better word, right, you're going to need to switch how you're communicating with them. So understand that if somebody is skeptical, for the love of God, you can't talk to them like they're analytical. If somebody is emotional, you can't talk to them like they're logical. So your job as a salesperson is to first diagnose, examine, and then prescribe, right? So you're talking to somebody, you're already having a feel of the type of personality trait that they have and how to communicate with them. And the last one is that the fastest closers are not the best talkers, but the best readers of people, right? So, I mean, it is a general fact that sales is actually 80% of listening and 20% of talking, right? So you cannot get information when you talk, you get information when you listen, and you cannot discover pain points except you actually listen to what the client is saying. So understand that it's not about your lingo or about your vocabulary or about how grounded you are in like a in terms of like real estate conversations, what is actually important to your clients is the fact that, they are talking, you are listening, you are getting the feedback, you're understanding exactly what they need, and then you are providing these things to them. So with that, we'll be getting to the end of the class. I'll just quickly skip past the things I spoke about today. I was talking about how clients have different personality types. I was talking about the analytical buyer, who is the thinker. I was talking about the emotional buyer, who is the feeler. I was talking about the decisive buyer, who is the action taker. I was talking about the skeptical buyer, who is the doubter. And I was talking about the price sensitive buyers. And I was also talking about how to identify them, what they care about, and how to market or how to sell to them. I also rounded up with some closing principles, right? So I was talking about how people don't reject properties, they reject how it is presented to them. And one property can be sold in 5 different ways. And your income increases when your communication becomes flexible. And the fastest closers are not the best talkers, but the best readers of people.